You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Wednesday, 23rd day of October, 2024. Also known as my birthday. Happy birthday to you. All right, enough of that. Thanks for joining us, whoever you are, wherever you are. We're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. Now, the first live broadcast, that's our live training room. That is private, members only, and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you have not yet taken your 1-week free trial, when Michael comes on in about 50 minutes, he'll walk you through step by step how to take the trial. Okay? We'll get your indicators set up today. Your trial will start tomorrow. But don't worry, you'll still get 5 consecutive trading days, even though it's going to stretch over a weekend. So really, you're going to get 7 days. There are markets that never sleep. So, when that live training room ends, the private one, at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, take a 30-minute break and come back for this broadcast, the afternoon broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. There's 2 different ways to join the afternoon broadcast live. The best way, you only have to do this once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click that link, fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward, every trading day, you get an email about an hour before this broadcast starts. In the email, there's a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email, and it will automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you will have access to the question box, so you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. We're still having issues with the YouTube stream. We're streaming live on YouTube right now, but something in the encoding software, I updated everything, I followed all their instructions, so they're still working on it. So if you do what I just said, if you've got a choppy stream on YouTube, just go to mytradingiq.com right now, scroll down to Noon Broadcast, fill out that form, hit submit. It'll automatically log you into the platform today. And then going forward, you'll get an email every day. Okay? I apologize. I've been working around the clock to fix this, and it's not fixed yet. So, anyway, our daily schedule, as you see here, we start with our daily devotional, a word of prayer, some news, recap of the alerts, logic, and concierge. We're having quite a week. Michael will join us about 12:50, 50 minutes into the broadcast, give us a recap of what happened in the live training room this morning. Then we'll do some live trading on the TradingView platform for 30 minutes. Then I'll come back and wrap things up with our good word for the day. So, here we go. The topic of our devotion last week and this week, we're in day 4 of 9. Okay? Our scripture today is John 2, verses 13 through 25. And I'm going to share with you from the Message translation. Now, the topic of the devotion is going deeper, meeting the Messiah in John 1 through 4. So we're up to John 2 at this point. When the Passover feast, celebrated each spring by the Jews, was about to take place, Jesus traveled up to Jerusalem. He found the temple teeming with people, selling cattle and sheep and doves. The loan sharks were also there in full strength. Before this devotion topic's over, you all have read the passage where Jesus turned over the tables, etc. I'm going to explain to you what that's all about. There's a reason. Oh, I'm going to have to take a break here at 9:30 because my new router's being delivered. So, anyway. Hey Siri, set an alarm for 9:29. Done. Okay. Back to the scripture. See, these loan sharks, let me just go ahead because I already stepped into it. There was not a universal currency. Okay, so when people came to the Passover feast, they had to go, if you've ever traveled to a foreign country, one of the first things you see is the place where you change your US dollars into whatever the local currency is. So people are coming from all over, traveling hundreds and hundreds of miles. And when they get there, in order to make their offering, they got to convert their money from whatever they use back where they live to the currency that was used at the time at the temple. So in verse 15, Jesus put together a whip out of strips of leather and chased them out of the temple, stampeding the sheep and cattle, upending the tables of the loan sharks, spilling coins left and right. He told the dove merchants, "Get your things out of here. Stop turning my Father's house into a shopping mall." That's when his disciples remembered the scripture, "Zeal for your house consumes me." That's from the Old Testament. But the Jews were upset. They asked, "What credentials can you present to justify this?" Jesus answered, "Tear down this temple, and in 3 days I'll put it back together." They were indignant. "It took 46 years to build this temple, and you're going to rebuild it in 3 days?" But Jesus was talking about his body as the temple. Later, after he was raised from the dead, his disciples remembered he had said this. They then put 2 and 2 together and believed both what was written in Scripture and what Jesus had said. During the time he was in Jerusalem, those days of the Passover feast, many people noticed the signs he was displaying, and seeing they pointed straight to God, entrusting their lives to him. But Jesus didn't entrust his life to them. He knew them inside and out. He knew how untrustworthy they were. He didn't need any help in seeing right through them. You see, before Jesus was put on the cross, sacrifices to atone for your sins were sheep and cattle. And so the people would bring their money from their hometown, convert the money at the money changer's table, and then buy a lamb, because it was too difficult to bring a lamb or a cat, cattle from the hundreds of miles they had traveled. So if anyone wants a better explanation, I'll give it to you. And I think we're going to find it here in the devotion. Okay, how is it that Jesus can offer us grace upon grace? The surprising episode starts to answer that question. Before we start, we need to know that in Jesus' day, the temple in Jerusalem was at the heart of Jewish religion. It was the place where people came to meet with God and receive forgiveness from Him. And Passover was the most important festival of the year, a time when people gathered from all over to remember God rescuing His people from slavery in Egypt back in the book of Exodus, the Old Testament. We can almost hear the packed crowds and the noise of animals and traders as visitors swapped their money to pay the temple tax and buy animals for sacrifice. See, he said it so much better than I did. Into this scene steps Jesus, and what he does is shocking. With a whip, he drives out the animals and the traders. Picture their money falling to the ground and their tables crashing over. What exactly is Jesus' problem? Look at verse 16. According to Jesus, they have made his Father's house into a place for buying and selling, a place that should have been somewhere for quiet prayer, and turning to God has been turned into a shopping center. His disciples remember a song from the Old Testament written by the great King David in Psalm 69, where David was so focused on God's glory that no one could stop him. In fact, if you read that, he danced till his clothes fell off. It's no surprise that the people in the temple asked Jesus what right he has to do all this. Wouldn't you? His answer might be difficult to understand at first glance. When Jesus says that if they were to get rid of his temple, he could build it again in 3 days. The people around him take him literally. They wonder how he could build in a long weekend what had taken them more than 40 years. But Jesus is saying something even more radical than that. What we learn here, that he is talking about his body, specifically his death and resurrection 3 days later. This means that Jesus, the Messiah, doesn't just have God's authority to be in charge of the temple, he replaces the temple. As the wine at the wedding party announced Jesus as the new bridegroom, God himself, so this announces him as the new temple. Jesus is now the place where we meet with God and have our sins forgiven. This is part of the answer to the question of how he can offer us grace. And so, as the Son of God, he has every right to put the temple straight. So if you ever wondered why he got angry that day, in fact, it's the only time I think that he ever showed anger in the entire New Testament. Even when they were nailing him to the cross, he said, "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing." Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, just as Jesus cleansed the temple, driving out the corruption and restoring it to a house of prayer, we ask that you cleanse our hearts and lives. Help us to remove anything that distracts us from truly worshiping you. Give us the courage to stand for righteousness and to honor you in all that we do. May our lives be places where your Spirit dwells, bringing light to the world around us. And we continue, Father, to lift up the victims of these hurricanes, be their shelter in this time of storm, and provide for their every need. Comfort the grieving, strengthen the weary, guide those who are rebuilding. Let your love and peace surround them, and may they find hope and comfort in your unfailing presence. And we continue to pray for the violence and conflict in the Middle East. Protect the innocent, heal the wounded, comfort those who mourn. Guide leaders towards peace and soften their hearts, which have been hardened by hatred. Let your justice and mercy reign, and may healing flow through the region as your will is done. And last, Lord, as the presidential election just days away, we ask for your wisdom and guidance for our nation. Grant voters the discernment to choose leaders who will uphold truth, justice, and compassion. Protect the integrity of the election process itself, and lead the country in a direction that honors you. May unity and peace prevail, and may your will be done for the future of America, one nation under God. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen. And happy Wednesday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. Start here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices, as they're called. Now, if you weren't tuned into the live training room this morning, we saw the bottom fall out. The Dow fell 360 points, almost 1%. NASDAQ fell 228 points, 1.25%. S&P 500 down 44 points. The Russell 2000 down 15. In the commodity basket, crude oil fell $1.21, trading 70.53 last. That's a drop of 1.75%, or basically $1,200 per contract traded. Gold fell 26 bucks, trading 27.3360 last, 1%. Silver, you're breaking my heart, down $1.13, trading 33.92 last. Now that's a drop of over 3% and over $5,000 per contract traded. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei fell 307 points. Shanghai gained 16. The Hang Seng gained 261, which is 1.25%. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE down 47, the DAX down 44, the CAC down 37. No movers, no shakers there. So that gave us a mixed day in Asia. It was a red day for the UK. And so far, it's a big red radio Wednesday here in the US of A. Hold for me 1 second, please. Okay. That was router guy Hey Siri, cancel previous alert.
Sorry, I can't do that.
Okay, create an alert for 9:40. Hey Siri, create an alert. Create an alert for 9:40.
What do you want to be reminded about?
The router.
Okay, I added it.
Oh, sometimes. All right, I'm sorry. Let's look at the news. Now, how many of you, probably not our audience, but your children, your grandchildren, they walk around with the Abercrombie and Fitch highly, very expensive clothing and apparel? Well, their former CEO, Mike Jeffries, was arrested yesterday on federal sex trafficking and interstate prostitution charges. Jeffries, who led the clothing retailer from 1992 to 2014, his romantic partner Matthew Smith, and his business associate James Jacobson, each face one count of sex trafficking as well as 15 counts of interstate prostitution. I wonder if this has anything to do with Diddy. The arrest comes 1 year after a BBC investigation revealed that from 2008 to 2015, Jeffries allegedly used the company to create a sex trafficking operation by promising young men modeling jobs in exchange for attending parties where they were coerced into sexual acts. Oh, I listened to this podcast. It's pretty good. The indictment says the men were given alcohol, muscle relaxants, Viagra, and other items at the parties. An alleged victim filed a civil lawsuit shortly after the report against the retailer. Jeffries has not responded to the allegations. If convicted, they could each face 15 years to life in prison for sex trafficking and up to 20 years for interstate prostitution. Amazon-backed startup Anthropic revealed yesterday it has trained a version of its AI model, Claude, to perform a range of computer tasks, including browsing the web, opening applications, and imitating keyboard strokes and button clicks. The new ability, called computer use, expands Claude from a chatbot to an AI agent, a bot designed for specific tasks on behalf of a person. Now you'll remember not too long ago I shared an article with you where a bunch of people who work remotely from home were using a bot to make it act like they were hard at work at their computer. It would move the mouse, make keystrokes while they were napping or fishing or whatever. Computer use is still in the experimental phase and has been released for developer feedback. Design startup Canva and food delivery giant DoorDash are among the partners who've already begun testing the upgraded Claude 3.5. I don't know if that's a good thing. Sales of existing homes fell in September as house hunters remained on the sidelines. Despite mortgage rates easing during the month, existing home sales slipped 1% from August to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 3.8 million. The National Association of Realtors said Wednesday, marking the lowest monthly rate since October 2010. Let's do some fast math. That's 14 years ago. Economists polled by Bloomberg expected existing home sales to hit a pace of 3.88 million in September. So there you have it. Existing home sales fall to a 14-year low. I hate to say this, but that's just the beginning. Boeing released third quarter earnings on Wednesday morning today, highlighting the precarious nature of the plane maker ahead of another momentous event, a labor vote set for later today. Currently, Boeing is down 2.5%. Boeing reported a net loss of $6.17 billion, bringing total losses in 2024 so far to nearly $8 billion. It said operating cash flow was at a loss of $1.34 billion. The company reported revenue of about $17.8 billion, down about 1% from the same period last year. The figures closely match the preliminary numbers it released last week. And I apologize, but I gotta put you on hold. I'll be right back. Alright, sorry. Thought it was the guy. It wasn't the guy. Alright, politics. Kamala Harris has a message for the business world and traditional Republicans during the final weeks of the campaign. She's a capitalist. It's a case Harris has been building since the early September release of a small business plan that included a new $50,000 tax credit for new small businesses as part of an overall goal of triggering 25 million new small businesses in 4 years. Now, I better not go into that. You know who those are going to, right? If you don't, look it up. Trump Media and Technology Group extended gains today, rising more than 4%. In early trading, as investors bet on former President Donald Trump's improved odds of winning the November election in less than 2 weeks. The moves come after the stock hit its highest level since July on Tuesday, with shares closing up nearly 10%. From Reuters, Goldman Sachs and Apple will pay $89 million for violations of consumer protection laws in their joint credit card business that affected hundreds of thousands of people. In a partnership to finance Apple's customers' purchases through the Apple credit card that Goldman is now seeking to unwind, the two companies allegedly mishandled transaction disputes and misled iPhone purchasers about whether their purchases were in fact interest-free, according to the agency. In addition to the penalties and consumer redress, Goldman will face restrictions on its ability to issue new credit cards. Whoa, that's big news. Now, we have a member and a friend in Argentina. He told me yesterday that the guy in charge, I can't pronounce his name, Milei, he's the president now. He abolished their version of the IRS, and he's about to abolish their version of the Federal Reserve. President Javier Milei wants Argentines to use more dollars. But for the first time in years, his countrymen are clamoring for pesos. A surge in demand for the local currency in recent months has left commercial banks needing access to pesos, leading Argentina's central bank to revive a liquidity window that hasn't been tapped since the 2018 financial crisis. And I'm going to be posting in the Breeze channel this most incredible property. You can get a round trip ticket for less than $1,000. But this property, it's 12 hectares, 5 acres, 35 grand. Comes with a tractor worth 10 grand. I can't afford it myself at the moment, but I know somebody who maybe just might want to do a joint venture. I don't know. Anyway, when I post the pictures later in the Breeze channel, it'll blow your mind. But keep in mind at what's happening. IRS, bye-bye. Central bank, bye-bye. Wow. Starting to sound like paradise. Logic 247, our 24/7 around-the-clock E-mini alert service. We're currently in week 325. Over the last 325 weeks, we've issued over 18,100 individual handcrafted alerts. And what we've averaged on a weekly basis is 20% or less being stopped out based on market structure in a simple process we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now, just this week, since the markets opened Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, we've issued a total of 41 alerts. Now, that was at 6:30 a.m. Eastern when Valerie did the recap, but I issued quite a few more, so she'll update everything this afternoon. One never triggered. We were still waiting on the outcome of 14. We had 26 actionable alerts at the time of the recap, which put us at 8% of actionable alerts stopped out. Again, over the last 325 weeks, over 18,100 alerts. We've averaged 20% or less on a weekly basis being stopped out based on market structure. And that simple process we teach all of our passport holders. Now, the logic alerts, they're not designed for you to just trade so you don't have to learn how to trade. They're designed to help you learn to read a chart. Any of you who tune in regularly, every time I bring up a 30-minute chart, instantly I can tell you what the next high probability move is. It's not because I have some superpower. It's because over the years I've learned how to read a chart. And I'm sure over years you could learn how to read a chart. Or you could simply use Logic 247 as it's intended, and you'll be reading charts within a couple weeks. You'll be able to spot windows of opportunity. You'll know when to anticipate support and resistance. All I can say, guys, if 18,100 plus alerts isn't enough to prove the point, I don't know what else I can say. Now, the logic alerts come out around the clock, 24/7. A logic alert could come out at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. because futures trade around the clock, and we have traders around the globe. But our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts, they're a little bit different. If you're a member or trial member, make sure you read this and understand it. If you don't understand it, Ask questions. Every one of our members and trial members had every one of these targets last night, right at the open. The Wednesday session began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Just like tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, that will begin the Thursday session. And while stocks stopped trading at 4 p.m. Eastern, futures continued trading until 5 p.m. Eastern. So there's that 1 hour break every day. So you had all these targets right at the open. That's a pretty good deal. All right. Now I know I'm going to have to take a break here in just a second, but let's go ahead and look at the daily chart. Remember what I said about the bottom falling out? We discussed this in the live training room. We said yesterday, if you were tuned in, if price broke the 38% fib extension, which every time it's come down, it's held as support. Once, twice, 3, 4 times. Now we came down to the daily BBC. And for any of you who followed what Michael and I were talking about in the live training room this morning, you should be looking pretty. Now, why a daily chart? Institutional traders look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts, the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Why? It has to do with account size. Institutions have huge account size, and they trade in huge size. Their trades literally move price. You and I, we're just liquidity, okay? But that's all right. Whether you trade futures or stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, whatever it is, if you'll spend 2 minutes with the daily chart before you begin your trading session on the smaller time frames, it's a free look over the shoulder of the deep pockets that move price. And so just by looking at this chart today, we knew what was coming. That's called learning how to read a chart. Okay? So it doesn't matter where you trade. Works the same. Price flows the same across all markets, all time frames. This green line is called the BBC. It stands for Bull Bear Cross. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. We call it the BBC. And the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. Pullback held, and the pullback held. Then we traded through, which we know will happen eventually. But the pullback held, and then a leg, and the pullback held. Okay, this is where I got to put you guys on hold. I'll be right back. Sorry, but the router has landed. So hopefully this is going to help with this problem of dropping frames on YouTube. All right, we've already covered the daily chart. We expect to bounce off the BBC because the pullback holds more often than not. But eventually it will trade through. Trade what's in front of you. On the ES, the vertical line separates today, Wednesday, from Tuesday. Now, these weekly zones were published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once the zones are published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. And we're actually getting pretty close to the lowest zone on the ES. We've already broke it on the Russell. But there's going to be unusual volatility leading up to the election. Now, 70% of the time when price encounters a zone, you're going to get this, consolidation. 20% of the time you'll get rejection. 10% of the time you'll get what's called the slice. That's when a 30-minute candle slices through the zone like it's not even there. When that happens, price will typically retrace to the zone it sliced through, continue in the direction of the slice. So this is Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. When price moves up to a zone, we expect resistance. When price drops to a zone, we expect support. Support, resistance, resistance, consolidation, the slice. It's all right there. Picture perfect. Okay? All right. So, remember the CTAs, all of our members and trial members had these last night at 6 p.m. Eastern when the markets opened. So this was the opening candle. It ran up into red and falling, which we expect to be resistance. And so it consolidated for hours. There was this right here is the London Open. So off the London Open, we tried to move higher. But we ran into this little guy right here. Okay. And that sent price lower. Okay. Blue and climbing, turned to red and falling. We're below the BBC, so we went right to the target. Now just that one candle right there. It opened at 81.75 and dropped to 78. So 3 3/4 points. Then we consolidated. Then we continued dropping. We spiked the zone, but came back. This time we sliced it and then came back and continued down. Okay. All right. On the Dow. Here's where we open. Remember, the pullback holds more often than not. Blue and climbing, turned to red and falling, and bang, down we go. Right to the target. And right below it, that is the lowest weekly zone this week for the Dow. Russell. We're already below the lowest weekly zone. Now, by close of business on Friday, based on almost 15 years of history, price will be at or above the lowest weekly zone. With all the volatility, election stuff going on, maybe it doesn't this time. We'll see. But you just trade what's in front of you. Now, once we broke that zone, okay, we sliced it. See that? 30-minute candle. Went right through it like it wasn't even there. So what happened next? Price retraced to the zone it sliced through and continued in the direction of the slice. Now, price doesn't travel in a straight line. You get a leg, a retracement, a leg, a retracement. pullback held, the pullback held, the pullback held, the pullback held. You get the idea. The pullback holds more often than not. Okay. On the NQ, it's support, resistance. This is Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Okay. Support, support. Yesterday, support, support. Here's where we opened last night, ran into red and falling, sent us down to the BBC. Right here on the London Open, this market attempted higher, and it ran into that resistance right there. And that sent it back down below the BBC along with red and falling. We hit the target and the zone. Remember, when price drops to a zone, we expect it to hold till proven otherwise. Good support. When the market finds support, it's going to go look for resistance. Pullback holds more often than not. So from this resistance, we now got to go look for support. And where do we find it? At the zone. Bounced us all the way back up here to the zone. Now again, these zones were published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once you become a member and learn how to properly read the chart and understand the power of the zones, it will make the business of trading so much simpler. See, from this support, we bounced all the way to this resistance, and we came back down, traded through, and right here, nope, we found support at this zone. We still got one more zone below. Okay, so still plenty of room for the NQ to fall. Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. Support, resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance. See how it works? The markets are fractal in nature. And so the BBC, you can apply it to a daily, weekly, monthly chart, 30-minute chart, 5-minute chart, tick chart, range chart. It's going to behave the same. Price, relative to whatever time frame you're using. When price gets above the green line, expect higher prices. Price gets below the green line, expect lower prices. Again, relative to whatever time frame you're using. That's why Michael, in the live training room, I think it was today or tomorrow, he talks about leg lengths. Okay, so if you're on a 7-tick range chart and price gets below the BBC, it's not going to fall as far as it does on a 30-minute chart. All things being relative, right? Crude, kind of a sleeper, a little snoozer today. Did I get stopped out on that one? No, it was 7:30 to 7:20. Okay, so I'm good. Here's where we opened last night, consolidated at the weekly zone. Got below the BBC finally, just ahead of the London Open. You got red and falling overhead, so you should already be expecting lower prices. Took us right down to the target, right down to the zone, to the tick. And from that zone, support, we bounce up to this zone resistance. And the market even gives us a nice little doji. After a move up, you get a doji at an important price, important area, like a zone. You should expect this. That's exactly what we got. And it looks like blue and climbing is about to roll over and become red and falling. And when it does, price will probably revisit this zone. Gold. Here's where we opened last night. Had red and falling in the picture. Took us right down to the zone. Support. Support took us all the way up to the target and beyond. If you look left from here, you'll find the resistance. If there's, I forget the all-time high. There might not be anything over there. Yeah, anyway. But you see how you got that little doji up there? Then here comes price crashing down. Got red and falling, come through the BBC. Now we hit the zone, we spiked it, and then pulled all the way back up to close that 30-minute candle right at the zone. But because we're below the BBC and have red and falling, we anticipate lower prices. So where did the market finally find support? Oh, look here, we sliced and then we retraced. We almost made it. 27.42.40. So just a few ticks. When you get a slice and it runs out of steam, expect a retracement to the zone it sliced through, and then a continuation in the direction of the slice, which we got. Okay. Now, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Friday. Friday, I drew in this window of opportunity. And remember what I tell you, that a window of opportunity is good until triggered. So I drew this on Monday, and it filled today. How sweet is that? We found support, bounced up to red and falling. Now we await another leg down. All right, Michael is here. We only have one market left to cover, but we'll do that when I come back. He's going to give us a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. Then we'll do some live trading on the TradingView platform. And then I'll go over silver and wrap things up with our good word for the day.
All right.
Now, my new router just arrived. I'm still
excellent.
dropping frames. So hopefully this afternoon I can get this. I don't know. I don't know if that's the problem or not. Maybe I'll just switch to OBS. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Okay.
You think a router would make that change? I don't know.
I don't know. My router is about 5 years old, and they only have a shelf life of about 4 years, so maybe.
Huh.
It's supposed to be some super duper gaming router, so I don't. I'm plugged into the router on this computer. And I got devices all over the house using Wi-Fi, but this computer that I'm using to stream and do everything we do, we're plugged right into the router, so I don't know if that's going to fix anything or not. But okay, your screens look
all right. Here we go. Here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, excuse me. Today is Wednesday, the 23rd day of October, 2024. Now, if you've not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here to mytradingiq.com and click on the purple button right here. All right, when you click on that, there's no credit card required for the trial. Click on that. It's going to bring you to this registration page, where all that we ask for on this page is your name, your email, and your phone number. Okay. Once you do that, right here we have 5 multiple choice questions. Just answer those honestly. If you have NinjaTrader and you want to use our charts, give us your NinjaTrader machine ID. Now, we don't have all the stuff that you're going to see here on NinjaTrader. We don't have this. We don't have the TV Trades Range Trigger, and we don't have the Ultimate Slingshot. We do have all the other things, but those 2 things we don't have, and they're kind of critical things to have. So if you are, where was I? Oh, right in here. Anyway, I was here. This is where I was. Give us your machine ID and we'll give you what we have. All right. Now, if you sign up for TradingView, we do have everything with TradingView. So it gives you a username for that. And if you don't have TradingView, to get TradingView, go here to, oops, not here again. Go here to mytradingiq.com, click on Trading Platforms, and right here is TradingView. Now, TradingView will give you a 30-day free trial. All right. If you do sign up for the TradingView, they'll give you a free version if you want the free version, but click on the monthly and go for the essential at a minimum. All right, because then you'll have custom range bars, and that is pretty key to everything that we do. It's $7 a month for the real-time data. You're gonna have to pay that $7 if you're gonna do the trading view route. All right, that's just the way it is. All right, so let's get into the spreadsheet. Now we had an okay day today. We got our goal quickly, which was good. That's, the goal is to get the goal relatively quickly every day. And you can see so far this month, out of the 17 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the 17 days, we got it on the very first trade, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 out of 17, we got it in the first 10 minutes or less. We got it in less than 10 minutes. So that is pretty good. Consistently profitable, that's what you want to be. All right. Now I'm gonna go over here for a second and see. Okay. So today in the room, if you're gonna read the spreadsheet, you read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. I have to say that. Today we made 48 ticks on the NQ. We were break even on the Russell, made 32 ticks on the YM, and we lost 12 on the ES. That put us at plus 250 on the morning session. Now today it took 4 minutes and 2 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $1,000. And we took a total of 15 trades this morning. So on a month now, we're up $11,400 over 17 trading days, averaging $670 per contract per 2-hour trading day. On the year now, we are at $97,537 over 200 trading days. And on the year, we're averaging $487 per day, okay, on the year. Doing the 24/20 blueprint, which means you add 1 contract per month after you earn $2,000 in profit per contract. You add another contract, right? You don't add a whole bunch of contracts all at once. You work your way up. So the only time you're really risking money out of your pocket is on that first contract for that first month. Once you start, adding contracts after that, it's all money that you've earned that you're risking, right? And again, we're never risking a ton of money. We use leverage with futures, so we never risk a ton of money. Every trade has limited risk, and that risk is predefined. Every single trade has predefined limited risk. Anyway, $2,800 an hour is what we're at right now. If you quit trading when you got the goal for the day every day, you would have worked 57.5 hours. You'd be averaging $2,800 an hour. Nice numbers. All right, let's get into what we did today. Okay, the NQ gave us a little bit of a run again today for a little while there. On the YM though, we started out here on the YM. We got 10 ticks on our first trade. We got 20 ticks on our second trade. That got us to 30, and then we got 2 ticks right here. That got us to 32. This one did end up going down, hitting the swing low. That would have been like 38 ticks or something like that down there at that swing low. But we ended up taking just 2 ticks out of it. It tried to go long here, but didn't make it. And then it gave 1 short right here. Turned it back a bit here, but it looks like it went enough to get stopped to break even, maybe some profit. And since then, it's gone completely sideways. Okay. Now, yesterday we placed a trade on the Russell, on the mini Russell, or the micro Russell, and we had put a profit target up here and a trend stop down, but a stop down here. It finally stopped out today. All right, it didn't make it to the profit target, and it finally stopped out today during the morning session, right there. But we had drawn this in the lesson plan yesterday, saying it's going to break out one way or the other. When it does break out, it should make a big move. Now, it gave a little bit of a head fake to the top side right here, but then it turned around, went sideways again for a few hours, several hours, a lot of hours. This was 12:06 yesterday, and it didn't break out all the way here till that's 16 hours later. Is that right? 12:06, yeah, 16 hours later until right here. It didn't break out to the downside and commit to the downside. All right, but now that it's broken out to the downside, there are some things you can do based on the information that we have. We went over some of this stuff today, but using information that you now have, this was the leg length we were talking about yesterday there, the 50% pullback to there, then the push down. Now this is the leg length right here. So I don't know if I drew this out yesterday. It doesn't look like I did, but using leg lengths, which is part of today's lesson plan using the leg lengths, that right there is what you should expect on the downside of this. And I might have drawn this out this morning, but that would come from this swing high right here. So you should expect on the downside right there. Now, I don't know if we got to that downside yet. Let me put this over here, and we'll go over here to the right and see if we did. We just did. That's what you should expect out of that. All right. So now the retracement from that should bring it right up to here, right back here to the weekly trading zone is what it should do. If it's going to continue down, that would be roughly, let me draw it out for you. Okay, let me draw it out for you. It would be something like this. So the weekly trading zone, I said, I was eyeballing, it's right here, right? So it should be a pullback to roughly here. And how long should that take? It should take this long. It'd be over here, roughly right over there. And from there, you should have a push down this big. Oops, well, you could use that, but I'll put that back where it was, and I'll use the actual line that I drew, which is this one. Should go from there down to there. That depends if we get a pullback here right now. If we get a pullback here, which we should probably get. If you do get that pullback, then this is what we should see. Okay, a move down to here. Now I'll put this line down here on that one because I don't know if it's going to get there first. But that's what it's looking like, right? If it stops right here and it pulls back from right here where it is right now. So there's a bunch of ifs in there, but that's what the Russell's looking like in the bigger picture stuff. Okay. Those of you guys that were in the room this morning, I went over some of this stuff, and we had leg lengths was part of the lesson plan for today. So the YM, we didn't have anything. The Russell, we had just one trade that was a break even. The ES today, we had a few trades. We had the very first trade. This is where we got the goal for the day on this one right here. We got ticks in profit on that one. Then we stopped out there, put us at -2, and we stopped out there, put us at -12. So this one right here, I had some slippage on it. If I didn't have the slippage, we would have had our stop at break even. It did end up going down like it should have, but we didn't get any part of that. Once it changed directions here, there was a shorting opportunity right there that worked out pretty well. Another one right here that worked out fine. One over here, that wasn't really one because the ribbon was crunched up. The next one looks like it might have been right in here, right there, which worked out just fine. And that was it on the ES today. Okay, that was it on the ES. Now, if we look at that same analysis that I just did with the Russell, right, the same analysis we just did with the Russell. I'm looking for where it should have started, really. Go with this up here. This is kind of looking like where it probably started right up here, off the weekly trading zone down to here. Okay, that was the first real commitment to the downside. And then that right there, right? And then again, right there. That one didn't quite make it, and it pulled back. That's kind of the stuff I was going over this morning. And then that right there, that exceeded it a little bit. Okay, and when it exceeded it, it pulled back, and then you started again from right there. And that's right down there at the bottom right now. And what you would do now is another one of these from right here. So what we're looking at on the ES on the downside is this right here, right? 558, 24.50. And Scott this morning was saying 32, I think, or something like that. Scott in here right now. Scott is not in here right now. Anyway, this is the way the ES was for us this morning. Okay, we ended up -12 ticks. And let's put that back here and slide it over here. We'll see if we get any more trades on that. The NQ. The NQ is where we had the majority of our trades today. We ended up with +48 on the NQ, but it wasn't an easy +48 to get. We started out here with, we had a stop out, and then another stop out. Started out there with -36, then another -36, and then this one right here I kind of messed up. We didn't have all four lines visible in the ribbon. That was another -36. So at that point I was at -108. Now that's kind of how I started out Not yesterday, but the day before yesterday. Yeah, the day before yesterday started out the same way. But we got it back here. We got back 48 on that one, then another 48 on that one. And so at that point, we were at minus 12. Then we had a break even there, and another break even there. And then here we finally got 30. Hang on, what did we have here the rest of the session? Okay, it doesn't really show everything that we had, but we went from minus 12 to plus 36 here. So it looks like we got a 48 there. And yes, we got the full 48 there. We went to plus 36, and then we had something else in here where we got just 12 ticks. It looks like I didn't write it down, but we had another one that went 12 ticks somewhere. There's several other opportunities in here which could have gone 12 ticks. This one. And then we get into the break. Now during the break, it looks like there was one trade right here that worked out pretty well. Then it switched directions and it gave a trade right here that worked out just fine. Then didn't have anything until over here worked out. There worked out. This one right here would have stopped you out. Okay, remember, you're not sitting here trading all day. You don't want to sit here and trade all day. You just want to get the goal for the day and get out of there. All right. Now, that being said, there was this one right here that eventually put in a lower swing down here. So you wouldn't have this because that was part of this. All right. That brings us to right here where we are right now. This is actually a valid trade right here where we are right now. Okay. It's a valid short from where we are right now. So I'll just throw it on. How's it fun?
Questions, I've got one for you from YouTube.
Sure. I am ready.
Or are you okay? Brother,
I am ready.
Trapstar says, brother, break down XAU/USD. Please.
Okay.
You're the best trader. And a little shamrock.
Okay. Hang on, let me open it up so I can see any other things that come on in there. YouTube. Do you mean that for me or for you?
No, for you.
Okay. Hang on, I'm waiting for this to come up. And
he also says, thank you, and what indicator is that? You should take our trial at mytradingiq.com. Yeah, Michael will show you how to do it. This way you can use the indicators yourself for a full week. No credit card required. And then you can make a decision if what we do and how we do it is right for you.
Okay. All right, I will do that. Here, let me put that on. Shut that off. So I can see everything over there now. XAU USD. Just a second. I think we have a trade. Yeah, we have a trade going here on the NQ. Okay. I'm gonna manage this trade on the NQ. Okay. So we're in here. I shorted that in here when I said it was a trade in here. I shorted it. It pulled back in here when I got it. I'm gonna lock in some more on this. Now 24.25. We're down to plus 5 points. That's 20 ticks right there. And there's 24. Now my target is 48, but you see it's getting down to the swing low. So when it gets down to the swing low, I like to trail it a little closer. And there, my target was right down there, but it didn't quite get there. This is not a trade here. Yes, we have something about to set up over here on the, no we don't. We need to get a lower swing here on the Russell. We got a lower swing, I'm on the YM. We got a lower swing here on the Russells. So we have something setting up on the Russell. This needs to give us a lower swing here on the ES before we have another trade, and this needs to give us a lower swing now on the NQ. But let's go out and look at some other markets here. We'll extend it out to here is going to be Bitcoin, which is not doing very well right now, and we'll go out to one more, crude oil. Okay, we'll put it on the crude oil. XAU USD is what they wanted, right?
XAU USD.
USD. I guess we'll just go with this one right here. Okay, this is not going to work on a 9 range. Let's break that down. Let's put that in.
What time frame would you like to see it on?
Yes, what time frame do you want to see it broken down on? That's probably a fair question.
We can do 5 minutes, we can do daily, we can do hourly, we can do whatever you want. Just type it in.
Let me know what you want to see, and I will do it.
And yes, you can.
All right. Let me just show you how to take the free trial if you want to take the free trial while we're waiting.
He just wants to buy it,
and
but he should probably take the trial first.
Okay. Well, yeah, let me show you how to take the trial. Okay. To take the trial, you go here to mytradingiq.com. Just go to the home page here at mytradingiq.com. Click on this for the free trial. All right. There's no credit card required for the free trial. When you do that, it's going to be this registration link. Just fill out this registration link. That's got my information up there. But just give us your first name, your last name, your email right here. These are all drop downs. You know, if you trade Forex, which is what you have me look at, fine. I mean, it works with everything. But if you have Ninja, give us your machine ID, but only give it to us if you're using Ninja charts. We don't have everything on Ninja charts, but we do on TradingView charts, right? So if you want to sign up, if you want to use the TradingView, I don't know if you use TradingView, but we recommend you use TradingView, okay?
Okay, he answered back. He'd like to see maybe weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour.
Okay.
Those are the only time frames that he uses. He uses weekly and daily for market direction, and then he executes on the 4 hour and the 1 hour.
All right. Well, let's just go there. We'll go here to the 4 hour, 1 hour. Now this is, I do not use these time frames, but it doesn't really matter that I do or don't. The information is going to be the same. Okay. The majority of the trades, so all the trades are going to be, the entry point is going to be from the trigger coming out of the overbought or oversold down here. All right. What you're going to want is to see the ribbon be spread out in the right direction, the direction that you're going to trade. And like right here, for instance, the ribbon's all spread out in blue. So you're thinking bullish, and it was all bullish up here anyway, right? So you're all thinking bullish up here anyway. And where it pulls back here, it gets below the oversold. Right here, where it gets back up above the oversold, is your entry point. When you get that up close right there where it comes out of the oversold, that's your entry point. Okay, and bang. And right here. Now, all that could have been all part of one big trade, but when you're talking about hourly, that's not my thing. But the stuff works the same way. It's scalable across all time frames. Like right now, you see how the ribbon just turned down and it's spread out. So now what I'd be looking for right here is a pull back up to test the ribbon. Or it doesn't even have to test the ribbon, just to pull back up for this to get into the overbought. Now let me explain one thing. This was part of yesterday's lesson plan. When price crosses the ribbon, typically the first pullback to it is going to hold, right? So it's going to be searching for it. After it crosses, it's going to be searching for it on the pullback. Now in this case right here, it came back down right here, and this was your first pop out of the oversold was right here. That ran up from right here at 2667.84 all the way up to here before it did another pullback that actually got into the oversold. It ran all the way up to here, 26. What was it? It was from here, right? And your pullback. Well, let me explain your stop on this in just a second, okay? Your stop would have to be down here, all right? Whenever it comes out of the oversold or the overbought, whatever direction you're trading in, especially on a larger time frame like this, the bar that got you into the trade should be the pivot bar. Okay, the bar that gets you into the trade should be the pivot bar. Right? You shouldn't go any lower than that bar is basically what I'm saying. It shouldn't go any lower than that bar.
So your stop
so like
should
right
be
here,
right below the low of that bar.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. Your risk or your stop would be right below the low of that bar. And it does look like it's turning bearish right now. The ribbon is all spread out. So what you would look for is for this to get up into the overbought and then come out of the overbought while you can still see all four lines in the ribbon. Okay. Now, if you want to break it down to a smaller time frame, the 30-minute. Now, the 30-minute is stuff that Dwayne uses all the time. And it's all the same stuff. It's all the same stuff. You're going to be looking for it to come out of the overbought, come out of the oversold, down here in the slingshot. Not the slingshot, in the TV trades range trigger. Range trigger. It should say range trigger. It says range sniper. I got to fix that. It should say range trigger. Why does it say range sniper? Yeah, let me put the range trigger on there. It should say range trigger. Range trigger. There. Did I mess that up? There it is. Yeah. Okay, it does say range trigger. Okay. But you're looking at the same thing. Okay, let me go back here to the hourly. And you're looking at the same thing here on the hourly too. You're looking for it to come out of the oversold. And when it comes out of the oversold, it should be on the trigger bar. Okay. should be on the trigger bar. This is where we are right now. This needs to get up into the overbought and come out of the overbought while the ribbon is still bearish. Now,
the second it comes out of that overbought, that's your trigger to get into your short trade.
that is it. And because you're on an hourly here, you can time it. Like right here, it says it's 44 minutes left in this bar. Now you can time it to be ready for the trade when that happens, but you're talking about a much larger time frame than I deal with here. But it's all the same stuff. It's scalable. Everything that we do is scalable. Everything that we do.
So it looks
You
like
do it
on
on
a
a much
100
smaller
range.
Yeah, the 100 range is I go to a larger time frame. I like to use 100 range. All right. Now I know with Forex, 100 range, there's the spread with Forex, and that becomes an issue. But with the 100 range, in my world, 100 range is a lot more doable, and it's usually going to be on the pivot bar when it comes out of the 100 range. It comes out of the overbought or oversold. It's usually going to be on the pivot bar. Okay.
We
Now,
need
if
to
I go
see
to my
that
world,
ribbon open up a little bit.
yes, right now, and we need to put it in a lower swing, right? Every time you get into a trade, it should continue the trend, and that was part of today's lesson plan, really.
Yep.
The markets are always doing the same thing. Let me draw it for you over here. Right, the markets are always doing the same thing. They're always going. They go down, and then they go up, and then go down. Here, it didn't go past the power swing low. So if you did get a trade right here, and you'd be expecting it to get through that level right there, which it didn't do, until it pulled back and then went through it, right? But you wouldn't be taking this trade right here because this one didn't put it in a lower swing. It didn't continue the trend. Then it goes up here like this. So this one you would be taking because it did continue the trend. So you'd be looking for the down close out of the overbought, and there it is right there. You'd be looking for it to get down below that level, which it did, and then it really did. It went all the way down here. You have a pullback here. Now that's not in the overbought. It's pretty close, but it's not there. Then it came up here and it changed directions on you. So you see in this whole move down right here, you can. No, 100 range is one of the free ones. Yeah, 100 range is one of the free ones. But this whole move down right here, I think 110, 100, and 1000 are the free ranges that you can use. Okay, but this whole move down right here, you had a trade there, you had a trade there, you had a trade. Well, that was it really. Those two trades, that one, and this move down. And over here, you had one right there too. Okay, and before that, you had one right over here. So on the whole move down, you had 1, 2, 3, 4 trades for this whole move down here on the XAU USD. But you can see how many bars it's printing right now. When you have the gold, excuse me, when you have the gold on the XAU USD on a range bar, it's going to print a lot more bars, a lot faster bars. As a matter of fact, 100 range is probably pretty small for a $2,700 thing. You might want to bump that to like a 500 range. Or 1,000 range is one of the alternatives, one of the free ones, and you can use that as well if you want to. See, it's all scalable. You'll be doing the same thing, looking for the same thing, coming out of the oversold, the 1,000 range.
MicroStrategy now has a larger market cap than Ford.
Mister.
Wow.
And they're still buying all their Bitcoin. That I wonder if Ford's buying any Bitcoin now.
Lots of companies are starting to. So we'll see.
But yeah, the free ranges, if I log out of this, if I just log off, I sign off. Hang on, let me cancel on this and save this. And then if I sign off, okay, now I'm signed off. And in here, if I go to here, the ranges that are free are these right here, 1, 10, 100, and 1,000. And you can use the 100, you can use the 1,000 if you want. This right here is 1,000. So those are what you get when you sign up for the free version of TradingView. Okay.
Trevstar said,
Okay.
Thanks, beautiful breakdown. Just described as well. Lots of free game. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
So here.
Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow morning in the live training room.
Yeah, we'll see you in the morning session then. You'll be able to see me doing everything that I normally do in here, in there. there I'll do it for 2 hours. So, and you get to sit through a lesson plan too. Actually, tomorrow is Thursday. So tomorrow's lesson plan is the DOM and the weekly trading zones. And I really didn't go over the TV trades range trader today, so I might add that into
And
tomorrow's
keep in mind, because it looks like you may trade different markets than we do, that doesn't matter. Our strategy and our indicators are fluid across all markets, all time frames. Price flows the same from support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. So
Yes.
you can watch Michael trade the ES or the YM or whatever he happens to be trading at the time, and the same concept, the same principles will apply to whatever it is that you're trading, whether it's Forex or an individual stock, crypto, all that stuff.
It is. Now, you're in tomorrow's lesson plan, you're going to be introduced to things like these right here, the weekly trading zones. Excuse me. And those are support and resistance areas that are defined at the beginning of the week. Every Monday morning, as you sign up for the trial, you'll be given access to the weekly tradings. I don't think you would access to the whole channel, but you get access to the zones anyway. And these are what the weekly trading zones are. And they're
Actually,
defined at the
he'll have
beginning of the week.
access to the Logic 247 trial channel, and that includes. Actually, there's a separate trial channel for the weekly trading zones.
Yeah.
So we'll give you this week's. You'll be able to grab this week's zones, and if you start your trial tomorrow on a Thursday, it's going to carry over 3 days into next week. So you'll get next week's zones Monday morning, 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Valerie will send you the links and explain how to get to them.
Now, when you signed up, I haven't gone to look at it yet, but did you give your TradingView login ID? This is what we need. Whatever this is right here, what you're logged in as, that's what we need.
That way we can enable your indicators. You can
Yes.
start playing with them now.
If you did, do great. If you didn't, you could type it in here if you want. Well, not in here. You type it into YouTube, but I don't think you can type in something privately in YouTube. Or you can just send a separate email.
Send an email to support
Yeah.
at cfrn.net.
With your login ID, your TradingView login ID.
Or you can text Michael at.
Yeah, you can text me at 617-943-3298. You can text me directly there. Okay. And if you do that, I'll set up your indicators so you have this stuff and this one down here. And when you signed up, whatever you signed up for, you'll be sent an email telling you how to set things up. Okay.
There'll be a lot of valuable information in that welcome email, so kind of hang on to it. Maybe create a little folder for it in your email client.
Okay, good. Well, when you do sign up, then when you get a chance. All right, yeah. When you get a chance, I'll see it come through at some point today.
Okay.
If you do it probably before 5 o'clock Eastern time, then I'll be able to get to it right away. Right? Otherwise, I'm likely to be out on the lake.
I thought you were in
I'll
the
get
dry
to
dock.
it. I'll get to it later. No. It's beautiful weather all week this week.
Oh, okay.
No, I did take it. Was in dry dock when the storm came through North Carolina.
Oh,
But
I got you.
but I put it back in, and we've been going out nightly.
Nice.
Yes, it's been beautiful. It's supposed to be like 78 degrees, and that's perfect.
Oh, yeah.
78 degrees and sunny today.
That's good. We've had nice weather here last week. Say it's going to warm up a little bit.
Yeah, it's good because everybody in the mountains right now, they have some time to actually clean things up and maybe get roads built again and put up power lines and stuff like that. They're doing a tremendous job of building the infrastructure back, from what I've seen anyway, in the last 3 weeks. Of course, I'm lucky enough to live just 30 miles away from all that. And it's I was lucky enough to not be part of it. All right, so right now we are waiting right now for this to for this to pull back. We have a lower swing in place here, and we need to pull back in that to get into the overbought. All right, we have a lower swing in place here. We just actually did come out of the overbought on that, so you could have shorted the ES. It's too late now. But I could have shorted the ES here at 23 or 22.75, but it's dropped down. Actually, I could probably still get into that. The DOM right now, and this is part of tomorrow's lesson plan. I'm just looking at the DOM right now because the DOM is suggesting it's going to pull back up to 58.26. Maybe I won't short that right now. Because the DOM, I just looked at the DOM and it's suggesting it's going to pull back up to right here at 58.26. Sorry, 58.25. Right up here is where the DOM is suggesting it's going to pull back up to right now. Now it's going back and forth quite a bit down here. It's weighing on the downside. The low of the day is right here. Okay. Now the reason, see, the entry point should have been here at 23 and it dropped down to 22. So it went 4 ticks into profit from the entry point. So it's already gone far enough for where I would have moved the stop to break even. So I don't want to try to enter a trade where I would have been exiting the trade earlier. I'd have been getting out of break even right here. So I'm going to leave that alone for right now, and it should give us another trade set up. Over here, the NQ didn't get into the overbought, so this did not qualify as a trade right here. But
now it just did,
you know what?
or almost.
It's almost there, yeah. But all the stuff that you were just asking about on the hourly, you know, we were talking about the hourly. You can do the hourly on any time frame you want, or any market you want, and all the stuff is the same. You know, you're gonna be looking for the same things on an hourly. Be looking for it to come out of the overbought or come out of the oversold. Now, I do range bars. The reason I use range bars is because you can be proactive with the order more so than you can with anything else. Like if we go back to a 31 range here on this, I know how big every bar is going to be ahead of time with a range bar. So I know where the bottom of the bar is going to be. If I know where the top is, I know where the bottom is going to be. So I'm able to put my order on ahead of time, and that gives you a distinct advantage when you're placing trades. Knowing exactly where to put your order on ahead of time. So you know where the bar is going to close. You can put your order 1 tick beyond that, and when the bar closes, you're in the trade, so you don't miss any trades, and you get great entries when you get in the trade, usually. Yep. And we slide this off to the side so you don't get all those messages. And so now we're waiting. We're just waiting. That numbers that I said on the DOM a minute ago, 58, was it 58.25? I think I said, didn't I? 26.25 or whatever it was. It just went up and hit that number that it was showing in the DOM a minute ago. That's what I was thinking that it was going to get up to. There was just another one's flashing right here at 27.25, right? And that's in tomorrow's lesson plan, how to read the DOM. But it's suggesting it's going to pull back a little bit more here. The Russell, though, the Russell is in the overbought and it's got room to run on the downside. Now, I'd run this in on the Russell earlier with that analysis that I had done when I was talking about the leg lengths, right? Isn't that where I got that line from? I think it is where I got that line from. Right?
I don't remember.
What time frame did I draw that from?
I don't know.
I might have been during the lesson plan this morning that I drew this in here and I said this is where I think it's going to get down to if it continues leg lengths down.
I'm looking for it to turn around. We still got 2 days.
Yeah, because our low zone is up here.
Mm-hmm.
But
yep.
All right.
A lot of
so
weird
right
stuff
now,
going to happen the next couple weeks, guys, because of the elections.
Yes. And right now, the high of this is right here at 20.7. So you subtract 20 from that. You'd be selling 18.7 like that. That's why I use range bars, because you know ahead of time where the bar is going to close. This bar, if it closes down right now, if the high stays where it is, and it gives us a down close, which would satisfy the rules for the trade setup, the down close is going to be right here at 18.8. I know that ahead of time. That's why I use range bars. Okay. As long as the high stays where it is, the high right here, if you look up here at the top, the high is up there at 20.7. So it's a 19 range bar. So 19 ticks away from that is right here at 18.8. So one more tick puts you right there. One more tick is going to go to a new bar, and that would satisfy the rules for the trade setup, and that would fill me somewhere around right here. Okay, that's why we use range bars. All right. none of the other ones have anything going on here. That should have put in a lower swing right here from this last one, and it didn't. This right here is not actually a valid trade. This last one right here, I guess it did put in one tick lower swing right in there, but it didn't give another trade. So the Russell looks like the only thing we have. The YM, if it pulled back a little deeper, we'd be in the overbought. We might have one trade, but it's going right down into the zone. So we're not going to do anything with that. So the Russell is all we have here. And we're waiting. Oh, it's 1:31. Crap, I got another meeting coming up too.
Dude, my new router, it's got 6 antennas.
6 antennas. Wow.
Yeah.
that is impressive. Well, I hope it fixes the problem.
Yeah, I know, me too. I just sent screenshots to the guys at XSplit again, and I told them I was putting in a new router. I don't think that's the problem, but it could be. So,
no.
Anyway,
hopefully it works.
You want me to take it?
Yeah. This trade might happen, but I don't really have time. I got another meeting coming up that I got to get to. But if you have not taken a free trial with us, let me go through that part. If you have not taken a free trial with us, let me slide this back over here. Go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button. There is no credit card required for the trial. When you do that, it's going to bring you to this registration page. All we ask for is your name, your phone number. There's 5 multiple choice questions. If you have Ninja, give us your machine ID. If you're going to use Ninja charts, if you're not going to use Ninja charts, you just want to trade on Ninja, then we don't need the machine ID. But we do have something pretty cool for Ninja. I'll show you. You want to get TradingView. Even if you have the basic version, get TradingView, because the basic version it allows you to have 2 indicators, and that's all we use is 2. So, in here, if you look at this, we have up here, you just need to have the TIQ context on, and down here, the TV trades range trigger. That's all we have going.
And you got to pay like $7 for real-time data. You
got to pay $7 to get the real-time data.
You just need the CME package.
Yep. If you hook up to your broker through here, if you belong to any one of these guys down here, and you can hook up to any one of those, then you don't need to pay for that data. But the data is just $7 to get real-time futures data, and that's dirt cheap. Yeah. Right, we're about to trigger it on this Russell trade, just about there. The high is still at the same place, so there it is. It gave us 1 tick of slip, and so we're in the trade. And that should run down, at a minimum, should run down to here. Now, well, since we're in it, let's go here. Since we're in it, the rules right here, if you go to trade rules, these are the risk management rules right here. This is a 19 range that we took this on. So it has a 25 tick stop that trails to break even after 10 ticks in profit. So it's got to get to right here for the stop to go to break even.
It's got a 45 tick target.
Yep, 45 tick target right there. It's a 25 tick stop with a 45 tick target, and it trails to break even after 10. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. We're looking for it to get down to right here. Now, if we come back here and look at the actual chart, the swing low is right here, so it should definitely get down to the swing low. At least that's a 17.4, which is right here. I would expect it's going to get down to that and exceed that. Now, Trapstar, you don't know the diamond principle or any of that stuff yet. If you're relatively new in here, then you don't know any of that stuff. But to project where it's going to go and when it's going to get there, if it does go through here in this bar or the next one, if it goes down below this level right here, then I would anticipate it would get to right here, about that trajectory, that time, that level is what it should do. Okay, but it's got to go through this level here first. And the time it takes to go through that level helps determine where that trajectory is going to be. But so that's what we're looking for. The XAU USD, I don't know how that ended up being. Oh, I put it on, that's on another, that's out a little ways. Hang on, let me do this. I left it there. It was out here on 6, wasn't it? Yeah, here it is on 6. Okay, so this is it on 1,000 range, but if we look at it back here on 100 range, then we have nothing. If we look at it on the 30-minute didn't pull back deep enough to give you the trade. If you look at it back on the hourly,
1,000 range gave you the trade though, right?
I think it did. Yeah, the 1,000 range gave it a trade back here.
Mm-hmm.
Back here is where it gave it the trade. And from 1,000 range, It should go, well, let me just draw it. I'll tell you where it should go to based on the information that the 1,000 range has given us. It should go to there, and it should get there in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 4, 5, 6. It should get there right about here. Should get right about here is where it should go. All right, so this needs to give us 10 ticks in profit. It's not quite there yet. So that 10 ticks in profit. When it does get to 10 ticks, we'll bump the stop. But that's what the 1,000 range should do. So that puts the 1,000 range down here at 27.13 for the XAU USD. Okay, and if we bump this back here, this is the Russell. The lowest that we had on this was 0.9.
It's creeping along. Yeah, it's not really moving.
All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to pass it back out to you in fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready, and you are.
I am.
Excellent.
All right. Okay, recap of the morning session.
Today, 4 minutes and 2 trades to make $1,000.
Good job.
Thank you.
Okie doke. Here's where we left off, guys. We covered all the markets. We'll take one more just quick look. Yes, I already talked our way through that. And the Dow. See where we found support at the zone. That is the lowest weekly zone for the Dow. Gold. We spiked the zone. We filled this from last Friday, this window of opportunity. And windows of opportunity are what I teach our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions, how to find these windows of opportunity. Now, it doesn't mean you got to sit here and wait 3 days for it to fill. But you could trade all kinds of other things. I mean, you could have been trading all this stuff. But the idea is that once price got back to the top of this window, there was an extremely high probability that it would go to the bottom of the window. And it did. Kind of looks like to the tick. So, anyway. Crude. Man, crude's just been stuck at the short target for... Make sure, is my chart updating? Yeah, it is. Okay, so anyway, silver. Oh, the daily chart, that's what I wanted to look at. Okay, it looks like we might go through the BBC. Now, we could spike it like we did here. So where we close is what's going to be important. Because right below the daily BBC, the green line, is the 24% fib extension. If we close below that 24% fib extension today, man, we could have a nasty fallout overnight or tomorrow or Friday. Now, there's also the potential that if price comes down and touches that 24, we get a nice bounce. We should get a nice bounce off the BBC, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Okay, silver, here's where we opened last night. Blue and climbing was directly above price, so we know that's resistance because it's probably on its way to turning into red and falling. And it did, and it took us down through the BBC, and we hit the short target. Okay, now the market found support here. When the market finds support, it's going to go look for resistance. And where did it find resistance? Right here. See that? Where blue turned red. See that? And it gave you a little doji. You're expecting resistance here. You get it. And then it's like paint by numbers. Down we go. Boom, 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 boom. And that is not the lowest weekly zone. We got several more zones left for silver. Now, a good window of opportunity, and I think in the Logic 247 channel I have this alert already out there. Roughly 33.48 to 33.31. So that would be 17 points. So that's $850 per contract traded from 33.48 down to the zone. Okay. And obviously, if you've earned the right to trade 10 contracts, it's an $8,000 move. But don't put the cart before the horse. It's awkward for the cart and the horse. Okay. You start out with us in demo until you put together 10 consecutive days in a row where you reach your goal in 10 trades or less. This is you proving to yourself that you understand the strategy. Then you go live with one contract. Once you go live with one contract, your goal is to increase your account balance by $2,000. Once you do that, the blueprint, the 2420 blueprint, will give you the green light to add a second contract. Now, the second contract's a really big deal because you funded your first contract that you traded with your startup capital, money you opened your account with, or money you have in your account. Okay? But the second contract is added with profit you earned in the market. See the difference? Now the blueprint's going to tell you when it's time to add number 3, number 4, number 5, number 10, all the way up to number 20. But you only add one at a time, and you only add with profit you earned in the market. Okay? Now, a realistic goal, whether you're trading silver or the ES or the Dow or the Russell or the NQ, crude gold, is $100 a day. That doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not in this day and time. But if you'll follow the rules and not get ahead of yourself, okay, that $100 a day, by the time you earn your way up to 5 contracts, now you're making $500 a day on the same move. For the ES, it's 2 points or 8 ticks. For crude or gold, it's 10 ticks, $100. And once you earn the right to trade 10 contracts, now you're at $1,000 a day. That puts you in the top 3% of wage earners worldwide. But we're going to give you the information. We're going to give you the tools. We're going to give you the group training. We're going to give you the one-on-one mentoring. What we cannot give you is patience and self-discipline. That one's between you and God. Okay? But I'll help you in one-on-one mentoring sessions, give you some ideas, some things to try to help develop patience and self-discipline. All right, it's time to wrap it up. To become a member, go here to mytradingiq.com. If you have questions, call us at 949-42-EMINI or email us support@cfrn.net. If you're ready to become a member, just send an email to support@cfrn.net. In the subject line, put "I'm ready to become a member." And then Valerie will send you out an email with the link and all the stuff you need to know to become a member. Okay? It's really simple. Now, 9 out of 10 new traders fail because they don't have anyone to teach them how to trade. They've bought every indicator and oscillator under the sun, courses, grumpy gurus, cherry-picked videos, all that. Okay? And books. Let's not leave out books. And there's nothing wrong, I guess, with any of those except the cherry-picked videos. But none of them are a replacement for a living, breathing teacher. teaching you 2 hours every trading day, answering every question you have. So you run out of questions. Our strategy and methodology is so simple. Pretty soon you run out of questions. Or you go to ask a question, you realize, oh, I already answered that. I already asked that, and I know the answer. And if you want, you can ask the question again, and you'll be surprised. You'll get the exact same answer. Okay? We do the same thing every day. Up days, down days, sideways days, fast days, slow days. We're the constant integer in the equation, and we teach you to be the constant integer. Along with the 2 hours of group trading every day, private one-on-one mentoring at no extra charge. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets and all time frames. You'll get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. You'll get the concierge trade alerts every evening when they're published, shortly after the Globex Open. Every Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, you'll get the weekly trading zones. And you'll be able to attend the members only workshop every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Not only will you be able to attend, but you'll get the key that unlocks the vault that contains hundreds of previous workshops. Do you need to go back and watch all of them? No. Just show up each day, trade in your demo account, and ask every question that pops into your head. Your questions are never an interruption. They are the reason we have 2 hours of live training every trading day. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. All right, good word for the day. Yesterday was part 1, today's part 2. You are Christ's ambassador. Ephesians 6:10. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. A decade ago, our ideas about being an ambassador were radically altered when the U.S. ambassador to Libya was murdered by terrorists because somebody wouldn't answer the phone at 3 a.m. in the morning. It takes a special person to be an ambassador in a combat zone. His blood is on her hands, and you know who I'm talking about. Paul writes, finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. And after you have done everything to stand, stand firm with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes from the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all the flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God. And pray in the Spirit on all occasions, with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for all God's people. That's Ephesians 6, verses 10 through 18. If you're a believer, you are an ambassador of Christ. Your first loyalty must be to him in all your dealings. To be disloyal is treasonous. You say, well, that's a high standard. Yes, it's a high calling. Philippians 3:14. It's also the most rewarding life you can live. And that's our good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.